So, we're going to move on over to the next topic now. Thank you for all of your comments. And now we're going to move on to some Hardline. Now, we're going to talk about what did we think of Hardline, and will it replace Battlefield 4? And more importantly, what we want to change about this game. What's really difficult that we can't really muster up, and something that we really want to be changed or looked at in the final build of the actual game. So, I'm going to kick it off this time, seeing as I'll let you two take your turns, you know, because I'm a generous man. But for me, what do I think of Hardline? Now, I've discussed this a lot. If you jump into the LevelBF TeamSpeak, I generally am around, and I had a conversation about this recently with a few people, and for me, it felt as though that Hardline is a concept which doesn't fit the game. Now, Hardline is a concept, and I've always used this example. When you're in a helicopter, the siren below the helicopter, which does all the announcements, shouts out, "Put down your weapons!" You know, and all these crazy cop quotes like, "Oh, lower your guns and stop," yeah. But you know, it's Battlefield. The first thing you're going to do when you get out of that helicopter is shoot them in the face.
Shoot everybody.
You know, so contextually speaking, it just feels as though the whole concept of Battlefield Hardline just does not fit the actual game that it's meant to be. And they said that they were going to bring a bunch of new modes to the table, and this could redefine it. I personally would love to see some kind of hostage mode. I would love to see a standoff
I believe that
mode.
is confirmed.
That needs to happen.
Something like that.
If they did confirm something like that, I need to check it out, because it's modes like that, the tense modes, because that's what Cops and Crooks is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about tension and decision making. I feel as though that's what Hardline needs to centralize itself around, rather than actually sorting out, you know, the general Battlefield vibe. And look, I love Conquest. I solely love Conquest. Conquest is like my boy. But you know, if they have to drop that in replacement for a couple of different concepts which could make the game significantly better, I'd be down for that. That wouldn't bother me. So you know, Pete, we played Hardline Beta together. We clocked in a few hours. Billy, you did too. So I'm gonna start off with Pete here, because Hardline, we all played incredibly well in Hardline. So what do you think about it?
Basically, while I agree it kind of depicts the game doesn't kind of fit. It seems to play the police force as a load of bloodthirsty morons, basically. No surrender, just kill everybody, which doesn't make any sense. But I think it has potential. Look, this game could be really successful. It could play out really well. But I think based on the beta experience, it does need a bit of work, like the balance, refining. Obviously, this is a beta. We've got to play this 5 months before it's going to be released. So this is all going to change. And I think that's to Visceral's credit that they allowed us to play to truly get their feedback. Because
well, I'm just going to slide in here, you know, as you were saying, feedback, you know, for me, the fact that look at the previous betas, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. We got that like a month prior to the game's release. So how?
That 2 weeks.
Exactly, 2 weeks prior to the game's actual release. So how in God's name are they meant to, you know, fix anything or change anything with the game in 2 weeks? Yeah. You know, that's important. But you know, go ahead, as you were saying before I
no worries.
slid in.
I slid in.
I slid in. I didn't make that sound really weird at all.
No. So, yeah, I believe that's potential. I believe they need to refine a lot of mechanics. Like, I'll say a lot of the stuff they put in just does not work. Like, interrogation mechanic, it's ridiculous. A lot of people didn't do it, but basically you can reveal the entire position of every player on the enemy map to your team. So that didn't make any sense at all. And the survivalist perk, I'm not even going to go into that. That was just.
Oh dear God!
I have nothing. I'm personally not the person who suggests that.
Survivalist was Call of Duty. Survivalist is Call of Duty in Battlefield.
That is a great perk if you're running operator, and that's about it. If you're not running operator, it's a terrible perk.
Saying that, there's a lot of things in that game I found really cool. I like the fact it's a lot more fast-paced. You know, there's a lot more. You know, close quarters, obviously, and apparently Visceral come out and said that is one of the most vehicle-centric maps in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think how the game is going to work for the last few maps. So, well, yeah, I'm excited and kind of worried at the same time, but based on my experience, there is potential there.
Now, I'll just go quickly jump in before we let, you know, Billy throw the sink at it. and he threw the. I never understood that analogy, but it made no sense to me. But I'm just gonna say that they did actually announce something that Level Cap said on one of his recent videos, because he's actually played some of the other maps as well.
Yeah,
and he said. Yeah, he said to us that, for starters, that this was the map that we played, which was High Tension, was one of the most vehicle-centric maps in the game. Which means that literally most of Hardline is going to be primarily infantry-based combat. You know, I've got mixed opinions about that. I really do love, you know, I really did enjoy the gunplay. I really did enjoy the infantry combat. But another thing that he said, which really sparked my attention, was that some people were disappointed with the scale and destructibility the game had to offer, and he said that that is a complete misinterpretation, and that essentially in the other maps that he played, it comes very close to Bad Company 2. He actually said that it comes very close to Bad Company 2, so I'm really excited for what that says. If that is anywhere near the truth, that I am quite excited for this game. But it's that area that I find with Hardline that you're either going... It's kind of like there's one of those things where you're either really worried or really excited. It could be the best thing in the world, and it could be the worst thing in the world at the same time.
Yeah.
So, Billy, the kitchen sink. What do you think?
The kitchen sink.
The kitchen sink.
Well, I am actually going to throw the kitchen sink at Hardline, because, I mean, I like the game, but now that I've played the beta, I don't necessarily think that I'm going to be playing this when it's released as much as I'm going to be playing Battlefield 4, and that's because I don't think that this is a Battlefield game. It plays like a Battlefield game in a lot of ways, but it's not a Battlefield game. It's something completely different, and you guys were talking about just before whether you think it's going to actually, you know, be successful. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as successful as, you know, a proper standalone Battlefield game would be. I mean, this is, for all intents and purposes, basically a spin-off. I think the biggest issues that I have with Hardline is the fact that it's so much easier than Battlefield 4. You know, you and I, you know, have talked about it in the past about how, you know, if you're not getting 3-to-1 KDs in Hardline, you're having a bad round. You know, it's if you're an experienced Battlefield player, it's a really simple game because they've really cut down on the difficulty spreading crisper shot, and also
general difficulty.
Yeah, sniping as well. Sniping is really easy. I don't think it is Bad Company 2 because I think the rifles fire.
They still had some drop. Yeah, they still had some drop in Bad Company 2.
Yeah, Bad Company 2, it was much like the hitboxes must have been bigger. You didn't have to be quite as accurate at long range, and you could the rifles did a lot of damage too. Yeah, I honestly think that in Hardline, it's just too easy, and it's a bit like Call of Duty. I enjoy Call of Duty, and I'm not having a go at Call of Duty, but Call of Duty is a game that I play for 10, 20 hours, and then I put it down. It's not a game that I play for 1,000 hours, and I'm still coming back for more. Yeah.
Now, for me, I gotta say, I'll give you a little past experience as to Call of Duty. For me, bought Modern Warfare 3, traded it in, bought Call of Duty Ghosts, traded it in, after buying it. It's just because, it doesn't have that replayability. And you just said, the game is too easy. And I've got to say, now, without sounding like complete cocky twats, whilst we were playing the DLC, myself, Billy, Flaming, and some of the regulars here on BFonPS4, I just call it a DLC, which goes to show my real opinion on it.
Lachlan, can I just interject? Sorry. If you'd like to flip to me a minute, I am under the map.
Oh, yeah, we're watching you. We're watching you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spawned on the abstract viewers, and I ended up under the map.
And I spawned on Pete, so I'm under the map too.
Basically, we were talking about this the other day, myself and Billy, and we just find the game too easy. And that does make us sound like complete twats. But my first game, I must have done something like 13-2, 13-1, and I posted up like a 31-5 gameplay on my channel. And I had so many other pieces of gameplay where I'd gone. I'd had at least a 3 KD, at least, and it's just, I found it easy because there was just no difficulty behind it. I found, I was using that M16A3, and you just blew up the boat, somehow.
I have no idea what's happened.
You just held square on the boat and blew
I
it
just
up.
pressed square, and the square button is just clearly just blew everything up.
But well, we you know, the gunplay was so easy. We know recoil control. We know, you know, how to do that kind of stuff because we've played the game for a while now as Battlefield 4. There was no recoil to control, and it just made it incredibly easy. And Billy, you mentioned something about the success of Battlefield. Yeah, I'm going to pitch in on this, and I personally believe it will be successful, but it won't be Battlefield successful, and I'm going to quickly explain.
Yeah.
Now, for me, but successful for them, in turn, that's going to be, you know, Hardline for them is going to be marketing genius. That's going to appeal to, you know, Call of Duty players, all of these FPS players who have never touched Battlefield before. And they're going to look at that game and they're going to think, oh my god, this looks amazing. Police, grappling hooks, zip lines, swag, that kind of stuff. They're just going to look at the game. That's what they're going to see. That's what they are going to see. And they're going to love that, and they're probably going to pick up the game because of that. Whereas, what we see from our perspective, being community members for so long, we're seeing a game that, for the community, won't be successful. It won't be a Battlefield success for community. And, you know, considering their current standing with the community at the moment, Battlefield, we have to, in all honesty, it really isn't that great at the moment. You know, it feels as though they've kind of, they've released this at the wrong time. And I am excited for Hardline. To say that you know, to say I'm not excited would be a lie. I personally think that game's got a ton of potential. And if they pull it right, they can do a good thing. I feel as though Visceral are a great development company. But I just don't know. I just don't think... I personally would have loved to see Bad Company 3. I gotta admit, I would have liked to have seen a 1943 or a 1942 even. You know, one of those would have been fantastic for me. I personally, you know, I keep reiterating this on videos and everything. I would love to see a World War II Battlefield. With Frostbite 3, with Frostbite 3, that would be godly. That would actually be...
I've always wanted a proper game of that that's not been Call of Duty.
The last proper World War game that I've played was World at War, to be honest with you. You know,
and that was sick.
A game with a great campaign and a game with a decent multiplayer. That was World at War.
Yeah, and
if Battlefield did that, yeah, you don't even need to... Just look at it. The simplicity of structures would be great, which means we'd have incredible destruction. It's just wow. It would just be. Just think about it. Just picture Frostbite 3 World War 2.
I think the only issue with World War II games is the fact that over the last 10, 15 years they were so overdone.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously that's where the Call of Duty series started. That's where Medal of Honor started. That's where Battlefield started. Is with World War II shooters. And I think it's a bit like zombie survival horror in the mid-90s. It took a long time to come back, and now it's back with a vengeance, and it'll probably be gone again in 5 years' time because it'll have been done to death.
Well,
and it's just one of those things,
If you look at the oversaturation at the moment of modern shooters is substantial. Modern shooters, and now we're seeing futuristic shooters becoming the new norm as well. I personally feel as though a futuristic shooter is essentially the same as a modern shooter, but with frickin' lasers. And like you said, the late 90s, I think you mentioned, where survival horror was a thing. We're seeing DayZ, we're seeing H1Z1, we're seeing all of these incredible zombie survival sort of games, horror survival games, The Forest, and they are doing so well. I mean, DayZ, the alpha version, sold something like 1 million copies within a day, and that was just an alpha, and that just goes to show how well that genre is doing. And it feels as though, regardless of it just being Battlefield, we're talking every single FPS franchise out there. They should really look at their time periods and say, look, we've done to death modern. Let's go back and do some past games. Now, I was really upset this week, incredibly upset, because I found out that Call of Duty had scrapped a Vietnam War third-person shooter in the wake of Advanced Warfare. Now, they had these great concept arts of third-person shooters and of the Vietnam War. It was really gritty, it was intense, it was sad, it looked fantastic. But they dropped that to do Advanced Warfare. That just goes to show the attitude of development at the moment is really not in touch. It's out of touch with what people, what you and I would see if we looked at a Battlefield game. I really want to see a World War II game done again. It's been too long. I probably will be picking up Sniper Elite 3 very soon. I'm going to love that game just on the general basis that it's going off of World War II.